Hi, my name is Madelyn Hirsch, and the book that I chose for my book review project is about a girl who had her childhood stolen away from her by her mother's mental illness. It's called Sickened, the true story of a lost childhood by Julie Gregory. Gregory writes a detailed account of what it was like to grow up in an abusive household where she was abused by both her father and her mother, but with her mother who had Munchausen syndrome by proxy. This is a mental health disorder in which the person makes up or causes injuries or illnesses to someone under his or her care. The first three chapters of the book talk about her family members and her home life when she was growing up as a child. It starts off with her at her first doctor visit that she can remember, and her telling us that she has always been sick as a kid. She lists all her symptoms and sets up the storyline by talking about how her mom was dedicated to finding her illness no matter what it took, and that she would go to doctor after doctor who would say that there was nothing wrong with her, so they would keep switching doctors until someone was able to find something out. The chapter 4, chapter after that, starts talking about the next doctor visit she went to where her mom tells her to act and look sick, so that way the doctor will believe that there's something wrong with her. However, the doctors could still never really find anything wrong with her. They ended up still prescribing her medication after medication because of the persistence of Julie's mom. Chapter 5 talks about when her baby brother Danny was born and how this distraction of having a baby that needs her and that she needed to care for sort of made Julie's health improve for a little bit during that time because her mom didn't feel the need to find something wrong with her because she already felt needed by her brother. However, by the end of the chapter, she was back in the doctor's office with a whole other condition that her mom thought she had. Chapter 6 and 7 talk about the other types of abuse that both kids suffered from in the home. Both her parents were, besides the Munchausen syndrome by proxy, they were also both physically and mentally abusive. Her mom would often threaten to kill herself and depend on Julie to talk her out of doing it, and her dad would also often threaten to kill her mom, and it was up to her to stop that sometimes. Her mom also would talk to Julie about how she was sexually abused as a child, and later on in that chapter, Julie's mom took her to the doctor to get a tube stuck up her urethra because of something that she made up that was wrong with her. She also now thinks that there's a problem with her heart in this problem and takes her to a cardiologist, and this is the first doctor that sort of agrees that there might be something wrong with her heart, but assures Julie's mom that it's nothing serious. But Julie's mom keeps pressing, thinking that it could be something really serious, so they take her to like a clinic where she stays for a little bit, and they're about to do a surgery on her to try to figure out what's wrong, and Julie sort of breaks down and screams out that her mom was making it up because she was afraid of having surgery, but the nurses didn't believe her and they did it anyways, and of course they didn't find anything. Chapter 9 talks about the abuse she received from both parents, the physical abuse. When her dad finds Kleenexes on the floor, he makes her eat them, and he bangs her head against the table until she does. And then chapter 10, Julie sort of breaks down and tells the social worker at her job about her home life situation, and her mom also had lots of foster kids and war veterans that lived with them that she would abuse as well. So the social worker came to her house and interviewed the foster kids and found out that they were being abused and took them away, as well as the war veterans, and then that's when her parents lost their foster kid license. However, shortly after Julie's mom found out that Julie was the one that turned her in, so she had to leave home to avoid being killed. She was going to go to court to testify against her parents, but her dad got to her first and talked her out of doing so. So she ended up coming back home, which was very short-lived because her dad then burned down the house. In chapter 11 and 12, she talks about what it was like to finally escape and get out of there. She had the realization in her psychology class that her mom had this disease, and she put the pieces together and realized that she was never sick, and started going back and realizing that that all made sense. And then the last couple of chapters talk about her recovery process and trying to learn and be okay with the fact that her mom had that and that her mom did that to her, and she had to try to change the image of herself from what her mom created, of being a poor, sick, little, stupid girl to being someone who is beautiful and strong and capable of doing much more than her mother told her she was. My one critique for this book was that it focused a lot on her childhood, and I wish it focused evenly or more on her adult life after she found out that her mom had that syndrome. And I had a lot of unanswered questions, like if she got married, like what she did after she sort of moved on, like did she have kids, did she ever like see her brother again, like how frequently did they like see each other, she like saw her dad and her mom later on, and also the book ends with her wanting to get out, help this new girl escape that her mom was now abusing. And I would love to know if she was able to do that or not. However, I would still rate this book 5 out of 5 stars. I think it was written very well. I think it was very easy to follow with simple language. Did a great job of describing in detail all the traumatic events that she went through. It was really easy to understand like how she felt because of all the descriptive imagery, even though what she went through was terrible and like unimaginable. But my favorite part about this book was that even though you know right off the bat that her mom had Munchausen syndrome and you like knew what that was, you were still sort of on the edge of your seat, like trying to figure it out along with Julie. And she did an excellent job of keeping it interesting and suspenseful, even though we sort of already knew the like plot line. But that's what I thought, and I would definitely recommend this book to anyone and everyone, especially those interested in working in any type of medical or psychological field. Thank you.